Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Of course, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are located geographically. My name is Mark Fuller. This is TeamAlliance, and I have some educational content for you guys today. Try to get a little bit more light in here. That should help. All right. This is a frequently asked question. I definitely appreciate everyone who asks questions regarding the market, regarding training, what it takes to trade at the professional level. Those of you who want to know information about this industry, and you ask a lot of fair questions that I believe there should be answers for already. And it's my goal and my intention to make it easy for the questions that you have out there, those of you, especially frequently asked questions by so many people asking the same questions over and over again and not really having the answers for them. That's what my goal is to make it easy for you to access the information, easy to access the answers that you're looking for. And that's what I hope to provide through my educational content and through my platform here on social media. Now, this particular question I've actually been wanting to address for a while, and I have to write these down and kind of list them in order so that they kind of go together, so that when I'm in the zone regarding the information and the subject matter, I can elaborate in detail and provide you guys with as much value as possible. So here's the question. How often should you train to trade the markets professionally? How often should you train to trade the markets professionally? Now, anyone that is cognizant or aware of sports is probably the best analogy to use, because it's a very competitive industry to be a part of. Teams are competing against teams. Players are competing against one another, for the most recognition, just to be recognized for what their abilities are, right? So when you look at certain players really take it to another level when it comes to the preparation for the game that they're involved with, the training process. They take it so serious that the way that they train is at an insane level. Like, you can't even compare their training alone. You can't compare to the way that you see other players do anything. So when it comes time to perform, it's not an accident why their performance is so stellar. And you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, certain players just excel. They're extraordinary. It's almost like they do superhuman stuff. And it's like, well, damn, how did this guy get to be this good? Sometimes it will transcend into an entire team, where the whole team performs like that because they train together. So I'm using both of those analogies because this is what TeamAlliance represents to me, in my opinion. There are members on TeamAlliance, including myself, who train at a very excessive, like, we overtrain. We just overdo it. It's just ridiculous. There's not a moment in any day that goes by where we are not doing some level of training. Period. We're training constantly. And when it comes time to perform, It's not an accident that the performance is exceptional. When we take our trades, ultimately, we're going to win our trades. End of discussion. We're not wondering, hoping, wishing, praying that we win. No. We're doing one of two things. One of two things. We're either taking trades and winning them, or we're not trading at all. That's the degree of training that is built into us. All the elements of the training is manifested through us all the time. So when it comes time to perform, we're performing at a very high level. That's what represents the professional level, where it's no longer something that you're just doing on the side, something that you're just doing for extra money, but you're literally doing it and you're able to generate a living, consistent income from your skill. That is the professional level. That applies to whatever you're doing. Just like if you're a professional basketball player, you are a professional football player. Playing at the professional level means, one, you know what the hell you're doing. Two, you're competing against others who are also training and playing the way that you are, but you have the ability, if you so choose, to excel by elevating your training. It's the players who train excessively and ridiculously more than other players who have a tendency to play exceptionally. The same thing applies when it comes to you trading. There's no different. I mean, if you want to consider trading a sport, let's look at it like that. Let's do it. Let's actually look at it and examine the elements of it as such. When you're dealing with, sports, yes, sports is a game, but it's a game and there's a lot of money that is involved, right? Because when players win, they get endorsements. When they are successful, money comes their way, period. No one wants to give you endorsements if you're not exceptional at what you do. If you are exceptional at what you do, the money's coming, right? So it's like you're being compensated for the high level of skill that you're able to execute all the time when you play in your profession, in your game. If, it applies if you're a basketball player, it applies if you're a baseball player, it applies if you're a football player. It doesn't matter what game we're talking about. If you're exceptional at what you do, the money comes. So the same thing applies for us in trading. We can demonstrate the same thing, but in order to do so, we have to train at a very high level. So that question is a good question. How often should you train to trade the markets? And the answer is, matter of fact, here we go. Give me a drum roll. The answer is all the time, non-stop. How often should you train? To me, is offensive to ask. Not that any of you asking that question is offensive to me. It's an offensive question because it's like asking the professional athlete, well, how often, do you take free throws for you to be shooting 95% at the line? How often do you take free throws? Every time that they're on the court. Well, how often are you on the court? You mean how often am I not on the court? You mean when am I not here? That's what you mean, right? I'm always here. That's the mindset. That's the mindset, and that is what it takes as far as putting yourself in the position to be the best at what you do and to be in position to execute at the highest level all the time. You see what I mean? So, and because we're dealing with the markets directly, because we're asking about how often should you train in order to trade the markets at the professional level? How often should you train in order to do it at the professional level? All the time. It never stops. It never ceases. So therefore, what you're dealing with when you are, You know, when you've decided to actually get involved with the markets, you are now dealing with the market. And that automatically requires a high level of training, because your training is inclusive of all of the things personally that you have to work on, like your patience and your discipline, your ability to not deviate from your plan. This is all training that you have to constantly reinforce to yourself. To yourself. It makes it even more powerful when you have a whole team that helps you reinforce it. That's what TeamAlliance represents. You actually have people that are in our group that hold you accountable for what you do. You can't come into training here, you know, start posting up your trades in our group chat where we are all the time, and think that your trade is not going to be scrutinized and we're not going to ask questions about what you did, especially if what you did was something that was crazy. We're not going to let you just continue to be crazy when it comes to what you're doing. We're holding you accountable for what you're doing. So when you have a team that's behind you, that's like beating the same thing into you every single day, it's being reinforced. It's impossible for you not to get it, and it's impossible for you not to become successful if you fall in line and you train at the high level. That's why that's a good question, but at the same time, to me, it's an offensive question, because I'm like, well, how dare you even ask that? How, if you want to trade at the professional level doing anything, how often do you have to train to do it? How long do people go to school to become a surgeon? While they're in school, how often do they have to study? That's just studying. When it comes time to actually put it into practice, how often do they have to actually do, you know, mock surgeries and stuff like that? How often does it go on? All the time. It's nonstop. It doesn't stop. That's the point that I'm really trying to make. So, good question, but at the same time, don't ask that question no more. This is the answer to that question. All the time, nonstop. So you don't, just stop asking me that. Don't ask me that no more. Okay? So this video right here, excuse me, answers that question. How often? The answer is all the time. But when can you stop? You don't stop. I trade professionally. I trade for a living. I train more than everyone does. Me. I'm winning already, but I still train more than you. What does that tell you? Think about it. So that's why these educational videos are so important, and they're so powerful and so valuable, because this is information that you need to hear, and that, you know, is actually being given to you for free. Like, it's my pleasure to share this information with you, because you need to know. If this is really something that you want to do, listen to someone who's doing it already. Just pay attention. Look at how much information that I'm actually sharing. Look at all the questions that I'm answering. It's not by accident that I'm able to answer every question in detail and with authority. I'm not wondering or, you know, trying to figure out, I'm not sure if I know the answer. No, I know what the answer is. I already know the answer before you ask the question, because I've been doing this, and I'm doing it successfully because I failed at doing it at first. So everything that you are asking about is usually a failure question, right? So I know more about the failing part because I did that first. Now I'm in the success mode of it because I know how to avoid doing anything that would lead to failure. Not training is one of them. Stopping training, that's another one. Leaving training, quitting, giving up. This is all stuff that's going to cause you to lose. You're going to lose at being able to do this, period. Because you're going to give up. And there's things that lead up to you giving up. Not training every day is one of them. So you want to get just on the right foot, so to speak, like out the gate. Make it your priority to always train as often as you possibly can, period. The mindset is I'm training all the time, period. And as that becomes a part of what you actually do every day, you'll find that it becomes so much easier for you to actually understand, comprehend what is actually being explained to you. Mind you, you're learning how to interpret the market itself. That's not something light. That's heavy. This is stuff that has taken people decades to learn. Took me decades to learn. Now your learning curve is shortened down to a year. Come on, man. This is remarkable stuff. It really is. But anyway, so I hope that this was valuable for you guys. More educational content, of course. There's more on the way, plenty more on the way. If you have an Ask Mark Anything question for me, you can post a reply underneath this video in the description box. Just reply on the video if you're looking at this on YouTube. Same thing if you're looking at it on Facebook. Just put a reply. Let me know what your Ask Mark Anything question is. Those of you looking to train, send me a text message, 914-979-2317. Fastest way to reach me is on Facebook. Send me a friend request. Let me know that you want to get into training with us. Aside from that, if you're not ready to begin training yet, that's fine as well. Continue to watch and enjoy the educational content. That's what it's here for, to prepare you for when you are ready to go into training. You'll be well prepared. All right. Aside from that, those of you looking to train, I'll see you soon in training. Everyone else, continue to enjoy the content, and I appreciate you watching. Hope you receive value. All right, Mark Fuller, TeamAlliance. Y'all have a great weekend. Deuces.